I think they are not listening. Nuno? Yes. If you are listening, raise your hands in Lisbon. Nuno. Okay, you're listening. So great audiences in Lisbon and Oporto. Full house again. We are very happy with that. Thank you, our city partners, Câmara Municipal do Porto, UPTEC, community partners, plus 351, this great community, Easy at Salina and Ferroviário in Lisbon. This wouldn't be possible if they weren't here with us and our partners. So it's great. Thank you also to Armilar. It's our investor partner today. They are here with us, mainly in Lisbon. So please find them. And if you want to raise capital or to have any question about funding, they are a great partner. They are a reference venture capital investor in Portugal. So glad they are here with us. Thank you, Armilar. Their team are joining us mainly in Lisbon. So great opportunity. Well, some updates about our community at Startup Portugal. We just came from Rio de Janeiro. We took 25 Portuguese startups in a delegation to Web Summit Rio. It was really interesting. It was a good second or third step. And I'm saying second and third step because most of the startups already had some connection with Brazil. We had more than 100 candidates. We choose the ones that would really get something useful from this mission abroad. And they made a lot of contacts. They saved a lot of time because concentrated in 3 or 4 days in that conference, they were able to do dozens of meetings and contact with several people. And I think it was really promising and we have great feedback from them. In the next weeks, we are going also with startups to South Summit, 16 Portuguese startups. We are taking them to South Summit. They are going to exhibit in special conditions, also provided by Startup Portugal and ICEP. It's a great partnership that we have with this Portuguese trade agency, ICEP. They help us with this international mission. They have the mission to promote internationalization of Portuguese companies, and we help them specifically with entrepreneurial community and startups. So we are going to South Summit next week. Then we are going to Vivatech in Paris. And finally, at the end of June, to Collision in Canada, Toronto. So it will be a great journey, international journey, in the next couple of months. Well, some news from the ecosystem. Recently, on the 25th of May, finally, the president of the Portuguese Republic published officially the new startup law. This is an important step to our community and to the international entrepreneurs that want to come to Portugal, because we have now a legal framework for startups and scale-ups. And this is a very inclusive one, because we consider startups young companies until 10 years of age, whereas in other countries, they consider only until 5 or 7 years. So we are more inclusive in that matter. We also define in terms of legal frame what is a scale-up, which is also something different, because we think that this startup spirit continues even after the companies gain some dimension or go abroad or gain some capacity. They are still part of our communities. They are considered as scale-ups, and they also deserve some special treatment in what relates to public policies, and that's why we were able to, with the government, have a specific frame to scale-ups. And also, we have a new fiscal regime to stock options. Now, it's one of the most competitive in Europe. We are taxing stock option plans only in the liquidity moment and not in the vesting moment as before. And the final effective rate is only 14%, one of the most interesting tax rates in Europe also. So this is good news. Obviously that we want always to evolve and to get things better, and we are trying to fix one or other issue in this law that can still be improved, but it's a good step in the right way. Well, I'd like also to tell you that Startup Portugal has recently launched an international procurement tender process to develop a specific platform for mapping the ecosystem. We currently have Deal Room mapping our Portuguese ecosystem, but we think that with our own tool, developed specifically with our own requirements, we can do even better. So we launched a tender, international public tender, and well, we are waiting for the contest and the applications. We have a lot of questions about really interesting companies that are trying to come and to develop this with us, and we'll get you informed about some developments in the near future about this. This is using PRR funds, so post-recovery COVID funds that the European Union made available for Portugal. Well, another good news for Porto, namely, we started Portugal, and this is a first-hand news for you. We are having 3 permanent team members in Porto. So, well, I'm dealing with the logistic parts, but it's already a certainty that we are going to have 3 of our team members permanently here in Porto. So this will deal with the Northern Community for Entrepreneurship, also Braga, also Aveiro, also other areas than specifically the city of Porto. But here in Porto, we are going to have a specific representation. I think it's exciting for us because we feel that a big part of the ecosystem dynamics in the country is here in the north of the country, and we are here to help it happen. Well, I'd like also to say that after our panel and pitching sessions, we are having the community of French tech will join us in a networking moment, mainly in Lisbon, but okay. It's good that we know that our friends from French tech are with us. And well, let's talk a little bit about today's topic, health tech. It's a very interesting topic, not only because a lot of people are talking about it, but because it's important to make some interactions and connections between different stakeholders in this area. And we are trying to bring them also to discuss important issues with us in this panel, but also for business reasons, because this area of business worth 1.5 billion euros in Portugal. So it's a huge market with great opportunities. The average annual growth rate in this vertical is 7% a year. So super interesting. We have more than 1,200 companies working in this area. Over 50% of PhDs in Portugal are focused on life sciences research. So a lot of talent dedicated specifically to this area. It's the second market of patents field in Portugal. And almost 25% of Portugal Ventures portfolio is in healthcare. Portugal Ventures is a public venture capitalist in Portugal, and 25% of their portfolio is in this area. We have a unicorn in this area of healthcare. It's here with us, so we are going to have Andrea from Sword Health here with us. Well, one of the 7 Portuguese ADN unicorns is in this area, and a lot of scale-up companies and projects are really promising. And well, I will say 1 or 2, for example, but I will certainly miss a lot of them. I would reference Tonic App, NOC, PicMed, MyCareForce, and many others. So it's a very vibrant and dynamic vertical nowadays in Portugal, and it totally justifies our attention and being the topic of today's Hangouts. So we will welcome on this stage 3 pitching startups. It will be Gluma in Lisbon, Picking Window in Porto, and Orga Value in Lisbon. 3 pitching startups. Then we will have the panel with the guest speakers, high quality guest speakers, by the way. André Eiras dos Santos, founding team and GM of International Sword Health. Carlos Alberto, chairman of the board of directors, CEO at Centro Hospitalar do Tâmega e Sousa. Welcome, Carlos. Also, we will welcome on the stage the guest speakers in Lisbon, Micaela Seaman Monteiro, Chief Medical Officer for Digital Transformation at CUF, one of the reference medical groups, private groups in Portugal. Vanessa Ribeiro, Coordinator at Planning and Innovation Center at Central Administration of the Health System, ACSS. And finally, Jorge Pimenta from IPN, Instituto Pedro Nunes. He's the head of innovation at IPN. We will have our teammate David Magboulet moderating this panel from Lisbon. And well, welcome to you all. I have the pleasure of having here Ricardo Valente, council from Municipality of Porto. Welcome, Ricardo. Thank you for your support in this partnership. And with no further ado, I will pass on to Nuno Moreno in Lisbon. Nuno? The stage is yours. Thank you. Now we have our Eurovision moment. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Antonio. It will be hard to compete with what you just did, but I'll do my best. So, just a quick thing. Who's here from the French Tech? Can you raise your arms? No? Okay, so maybe the French Tech went straight upstairs. Smart dudes. But I know we have people here from Startup Amsterdam, right? Okay, I just wanted to shame you a little bit. Okay, without further ado, thank you very much for being here. It's a pleasure to be here. The team from Armilar, it's those two pretty faces out there, okay? You can raise your arms again, okay? Okay, now you see who you're pointing to after these amazing pitches. And without further ado, we're going for the first pitch of the day. Gluma, the problem they are tackling, it's a very important one, but I'll let you judge it for yourselves. And please, Frederico, welcome to the stage. Here's the pointer, very important. Yes.
Thank you very much.
You have 3 minutes and the rest of the life to do the best you can. Okay. Perfect.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation, and it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Frederico. I'm Gluma's co-founder, and we detect breast cancer at an early stage. Do we have the slides? No? Okay. But first, I'm going to share with you the story that inspired us. This is Felipe. She's my co-founder's cousin, and she used to do the self-breast exam. However, she didn't have confidence while doing it. So when she felt something in her breast, she thought it was nothing. 3 months later, the lump didn't disappear, and she went to the doctor. The result, a malignant cancer and mandatory breast removal. But as Felipe, there are thousands of women who don't have confidence doing the breast self-exam, who don't know how to do it, or just simply forget to do it. And that's why 35% of breast cancers are not detected at an early stage. So we created a digital health solution. The Sense Glove will remind patients to do the self-breast exam every month by sending them monthly push notifications. We detect and monitor abnormalities in the breast tissue in size and texture by combining pressure sensors with artificial intelligence. By keeping track of changes over time, we provide actionable results. So if the glove detects something, the app will send an alert and connect patients to their doctors. What we want is to put the experience of 1,000 doctors in your hand. And yes, our technology works. We did a proof of concept in CUF with 40 patients, men and women, where we got the diagnosis right 88% of the times, having a 12% rate of false positives and a perfect record of no false negatives. We already started our path here in Portugal. We are currently working with 6 Portuguese hospitals to collect data from 500 patients, but we are looking for more. We also count with 11 letters of interest from doctors and Portuguese players, and we are currently on track to get the CE mark. We count with Francisco, is the other co-founder, Felipe's cousin, and a biomedical engineer. so he has the technical expertise to do this. I joined them with the knowledge in management and digital innovation. Guilherme is our IT and infrastructure specialist, and Flavia is our regulatory affairs specialist. We also count with an amazing IT team in mobile app, backend development, and the AI programming team. And we have been supported by 4 amazing entities in the legal side, PLMJ, on the regulatory affairs side, IPN, and on the product development by CTEV in the textile and 3D-Ways in the hardware. We want to improve the standard of care and to improve the outcome of the disease. So join us, because at Gluma, we cannot stop breast cancer, but we can help women stop dying from it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frederico. That's the way to close the pitch. No, okay, I can keep it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And now, yes, I can see Cristiana is already moving, and I hope I didn't. Yes, Cristiana Braga, it's already taking your position. I'll just give you a second. Cristiana Braga, she's presenting Picking Window from Porto. Cristiana, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm super happy for being here, and thanks to Startup Portugal for the opportunity. So I want to start, although I'm not part of the technical staff, I want to ask you if you can see me very well. Here and in Lisbon, can you all see me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. But unfortunately, other people might not. And this is what it looks like for someone with glaucoma, age-related macular degeneration, and diabetic retinopathy. These diseases can cause irreversible blindness. However, there are not enough ophthalmologists to this ever-growing number of patients. So stopping irreversible eye disease is a major concern, right? And there are already AI solutions to accelerate early detection, fortunately. However, they create bias and compromise data privacy. So in practice, there is no reliable approach to promote data diversity and protection. What if we mix AI readers with the latest technological innovations? So at Fraunhofer, we developed a reliable AI software that reads iPhone's images. And this is reliable. Why? Because it ensures privacy in data access and diversity in the clinical case assessment, and also provides support in the referral of patients. All of this while saving time and money, because we know that automating image analysis enables to reduce costs with examinations and later treatments. So we already know this from previous existing solutions. But now, what does it do exactly? So this is a web app for eye practitioners. It reads the retinal images, explains the risk for eye disease. Explainability is very important. And it supports the referral reporting. But the differentiation is that we assure this data diversity because of our technological infrastructure that enables to provide unbiased software predictions. Okay, and while our competitors ask for receiving the data, we let it remain private. So if you want to invest in a scalable technology, this is the one you should meet. Now, yes, we have tested this already with 3 key opinion leaders in Portugal, and we are now going to create the first Fraunhofer Portugal spin-off. For this, we are seeking funding partners because taking this solution to the market, it requires our full-time dedication, medical device certification, IP protection, continuous business development, a lot of stuff. So we're here because we want to connect with potential clients and partners, engage with early stage investors, perhaps find talented people who might want to join our vision, and engage with the startup community. Now, why this team? We have in-depth knowledge in the health tech field, and we are committed to take Fraunhofer IP to the market. So we are working together for more than 7 years in this field on the side of research, and we are together as a team for 2 years working to improve our business concept. We are looking for a CTO to join our team, so perhaps we can connect here with someone. And that's it. Thank you. Please don't lose sight of us and get in touch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christiane. A very nice speech and very nice problem you're tackling. I think today with Healthtech, all the problems are big, all the solutions are very ambitious, and that's why we're so happy to have such an interesting group of entrepreneurs here. The last speech of the day, I would like to call to the stage Rodrigo Valdoleiros, also the young entrepreneur of 2022 and the creator of Orga Value. Please, the stage is yours.
So, hi everyone, my name is Rodrigo, as you already mentioned, and I'm here to present our project, Orga Value. Orga Value has a mission that is eliminate the organ transplant waiting list. And why is that? Because nowadays, at least 90% of organ transplantation needs are not being met. So we propose and develop a solution that has focused on this problem that every 9 minutes one person is out of the waiting transplant list. And this means that 40 people die each day waiting for an organ. 54% develop other disease like cancer disease because of the intake of the immunosuppressant from the conventional transplant. And also 25% will need a retransplant in 5 years because they are not personalized. And we came out with a solution that is basically bioengineer new human organs. You can see a liver, a perfect liver in the hand. This is a mouse model. And then the technology is a very simple one. We basically remove from organs from human cadavers from the hospital. And then we apply a process that remove all the cells inside of the organ, maintaining the 3D architecture. And then what it's left, it's just a perfect cellular matrix in order to further go from transplants cells from the new patient recipient and differentiate these cells in the lab and create a new personalized human organ. So basically in the lab, we develop a solution we take cells from the patient, from the blood, and then we develop a protocol in order to receive this organ in order to create in the last 1 month, one organ that can be personalized and transplant from this kind of patient. This is our at the moment stage. We are in the preclinical stage with Hospital Sant Antonio. This is a human ex vivo pre-model, preclinical model. This is a human liver that we are applying this process and then personalize the organ from a proposed patient. And of course, we can go for a heart. For example, this is a white heart because it does not have any cells on it. And also we can go for a lung and a heart thoracic transplant as well. Our competitor analysis, we are in the first ones in Europe. And in the world, we have our direct competitor, Miromatrix, but instead of us, Miromatrix use pig organs instead of human organs. And this is a huge problems related to immunogenic and also availability of these kind of organs, and of course, pharmaceutical companies. Our market analysis, we are in a B2B model with hospitals with a profit per unit with 230 key per unit. So our market, it's a huge market, almost 500 billion. And our market share focus in the liver market is 2.9 in Europe. We want to start in Portugal with 60 million profit in the first year and go spread for Spain, Iberican market, and also go further for Europe in the 72 million profit in 6 years. So opportunity for organ transplantation that we want to start in Portugal because we are the third country in Europe to have the most diseased organs and apply this kind of transplantation, and of course save 2 billion in taxes from this kind of waiting list maintenance in 2023. And also we apply and we can reduce the costs of sickness benefit expense and also from the purchase medicine. And also, most important, eliminate the sex bias from the scores between the choosing transplant. And also, we want to go further for hospital voucher of 60K that the state will apply to the hospital because of the maximum guarantee response times that hospital can gain money with our solution. Our funding at the moment, we are looking for 5 million that is divided for infrastructure, hiring, and research and development. And we divide this in from looking from the public funding, non-dilutive in the IC community, and 5 million in the private funding. So our team is the expert on the matter from medicine, regenerative medicine, health economics, stem cell, bioengineering, ethics, and also our clinical advisor, Dr. Daniel Lopes, that is a renowned surgeon in the liver transplant. Our collaborations, Collab Trials, Spain, IT Health, I3S, Oxenter Foundation for Oxford, and also from the Institutes of Medicine, Legal Medicine in Portugal. So we already won several awards during these years. And if you want to know more, you can reach out by our email and also for our website. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Rodrigo. Thank you very much. So actually the future is here. In 2 weeks, maybe a couple of years, we can go to the supermarket, get a new, and the future is amazing, amazing, amazing. So now we're going to the big conversation. We have the specialists, the experts. We have David Magbole, the head of growth and acceleration of Startup Lisboa, Startup Portugal, oh man. I'm going to be fired for this one, from Startup Portugal moderating the talk. So I'll start calling from Porto, I guess. I hope you are ready on that side. So please, Mr. André Eiras dos Santos, founding team and general manager of international at Sword Health, please.
Hey, how are you? Good afternoon.
Aha, here you are, André. Yes, yes, we can see you. You look amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now on our side, Vanessa Ribeiro, coordinator of the Planning and Innovation Center at the Central Administration of the Health System. And this is a long name. I don't know how you introduce yourself, but I'm sure Vanessa can do a better job than me. You can pick, you can pick. You have a little bottle of water there if you need afterwards. Now, going back to Porto, Mr. Carlos Alberto, Chairman of the Board of Directors of Centro Hospitalar do Tâmega e Sousa. Okay. Yes, Mr. Carlos.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. And you? Yes, I can.
Fine, thanks. Thanks.
I love this. This is we feel closer. Yes. Okay, now back to Lisbon. Jorge Pimenta, Innovation Director at Instituto Pedro Nunes, IPN. Okay, okay. You spend a week with Coldplay in Coimbra practicing for this. Okay, now we have, no, where is Michaela?
I'm here.
Michaela Simon Monteiro, Chief Medical Officer for the digital transformation at CUF Digital. Okay, and now, prepare yourselves. Mr. David Magbole, Head of Growth and Acceleration at Startup Portugal. Okay, the stage is yours. Have fun.
Hello, Porto. Yes, you can. Hello, perfect.
Yeah, all good.
I cannot see you. Okay, I'm gonna have a neck burn, but it's fine. Guys, thank you very much for being here. Welcome to this hangout focused more on healthcare. Thank you very much to the panelists and in Porto as well. Thank you for attending this talk and this roundtable. So a lot of familiar faces to me. And because we're already a little bit over time, and I want to make sure that we enjoy the sunset, at least here in Lisbon. I know the weather is very good in Porto at the moment. So I want to make sure that we have a very good and interesting conversation, but at the same time, we don't go too much over time. So then our people who are here can then enjoy the rest of the evening. So Andre, I'm going to start with you because we're here to talk about the health tech challenges. And I don't think there's anyone better at the moment than you, right? And Sword Health, how a company based, I think, originally from Braga, overcame some challenges, managed to grow as big as becoming one of the few healthcare unicorns in Europe and the only one in Portugal. So I'd appreciate if you can start about telling us your story and your journey to where you're up to now.
Cool. First and foremost, thank you so much, David, for the invitation. Thanks, Antonio. It's a pleasure being here in my home city here, Porto. So actually, we were born in Aveiro. We were actually a spin-off. Just a slight correction there, but we were like spent the majority of our time in Porto, to be honest. So we are citizens of this city. So my name is Andre. I'm part of the founding team. I'm the general manager for international. So everything that's around international is under me. And basically, I'm a biomedical engineer with a master's in medical electronics and an MBA from Porto Business School. I have here some colleagues of mine. So basically, SWORD started back in 2015. SWORD started because of Virgilio's brother. So Virgilio's brother suffered a car accident. He went to coma for 12 months when he needs to have access to physiotherapy every day. Because they live in Guarda and so on, the access was short because there were a lack of physiotherapists there. So their parents needed to change their lives and so on to become the kind of the therapist for him to not be in a bed for life. So this was kind of like a trauma, the family trauma, why SWORD evolved. And what we realized was that this was a problem global. So we realized that there was a lack, the supply and demand from physiotherapists does not match. So we needed to create something to close that gap. So we thought only with technology we can do that. That's how it started the PhD of Virgilio, and basically after that we said, hey, we have something here, we should kick off the tires and start a company. So we started in Portugal, 5 of us, and then like the first 4 years was stealth mode, developing a medical device, because it was basically what we do is we deliver remote telerehabilitation if you want. So we have a digital physiotherapist that we created, which is technology with a tablet and the sensors or computer vision that people have at home, and they can do their exercise at home, and everyone and the physios on the other side of the line watching what they're doing, changing their prescription and so on. So basically we decided, hey, let's create this digital therapist. And the first 4 years were like medical device certification, clinical trials, because people were saying that we were crazy because no one was going to be having physiotherapy hands-on, that people love it at home. So we needed to prove ourselves that we were at least equally in the quality of treatment as traditional therapy. So the first 4 years were basically that in that sense. So what we got in a moment where we were considered one of the best innovation companies in Europe. So European Commission gave us 1 million grant. That was a massive for us because we went from like 5 people to like 15 people, and we accelerate the growth of our development massively. And we were able to make the clinical trials and get the medical device certification. So we went to market like 2018. Everything looks fantastic. We went to market. We tried to sell our technology to legacy providers, so clinics of physiotherapy. They always say that they love us, but no one was buying the solution. I was knocking literally doors in Portugal, and no one is buying. And then I realized that what we were trying to do was we were trying to be Uber selling to the taxi drivers. And I know this is a little bit radical, but we can say it openly, because our platform monitors everything that the members are doing, the patients. And with our platform, no one can hide if the person is evolving and if the person is getting the right outcomes or not. So basically payers like the Portuguese SNS and insurance companies will basically look into them and see, hey, why John Smith after 10 sessions didn't evolve and you are continuing giving him sessions for like 40 sessions. The reason is because that's how they make money. They make money in the amount of sessions. So we basically flipped the company completely in that sense. We pivot to be a fully vertical integrated solution. And that was our first learning. We went bankrupt almost in that moment. So we flipped the company to be basically a provider. So we hire physiotherapists and we start pitching to insurance companies. So we start with like small pilots in Portugal, Tranquilidade, Fidelidade, etc. And also we went for actually a funding from ACSS, which was in Hospital de Leiria, where we actually were able to kill. They have more than 300 people on a waiting list, and we're able with telerehabilitation to kill that waiting list. And that was like, we won awards together and so on. That was massive. But the problems then start, which is with insurance companies after one pilot, they think about like, hey, I want to do a second pilot and a third pilot. And with so you're basically that on fly by pilots. And with insurance company, with the SNS was there was no, and there's still not, a reimbursement line for telerehabilitation. So the administration from hospitality has said, we love what you're doing. This is really innovation. This was back in 2018, but I cannot get that funding. So we needed to flip and think about, we needed to go out from Portugal, because in Portugal we will die basically. So we went to the US, we start pitching to employers, large corporations, large health plans. And in the US, we were massively successful because we were avoiding unnecessary surgeries, unnecessary x-rays, ER visits, MRIs, etc. And we started growing the company massively. Then COVID hit and our growth was even bigger. So today we work with more than 2,000 institutions in the United States. We also launched the company in Canada, Puerto Rico, UK, Australia, and Mexico at the end of the year. And we are 800 people. And yeah, we were valued at 2B. So just try to give you like a brief overview about where we stand.
So
It's good, David.
thank you, Andre. And it's very interesting how you did a pivot, but it's not a pivot on the product. It was a pivot on your business model and how you were presenting yourselves and your strategy. But there's also one point interesting, which is the fact that you went to the US for acceleration program, right? And that also helped to open some doors. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we needed to go there. And the first, when you land in the US, you need to try to land somewhere because no one knows you. People say you are crazy Portuguese that think about putting people having physical therapy, as they say it there. They don't say physiotherapy, they say physical therapy at home. And you are ahead of the curve, and potentially the curve will never be there. So we needed to land somewhere. We landed on acceleration program. So that's one of my recommendations. Always try to find somewhere to land to get your first connections, and then you start understanding the market and then you grow from there. So that was key for us to understand the market and then growing afterwards.
Okay, perfect. So the key learnings of your journey and your history is that don't start the company, a health tech company in Portugal, right? Almost. But no, that's not really the point. The point is you can even start the company, but then obviously you have to go elsewhere and go across borders. So let's focus on the opportunities, and thank you, Andre, for sharing your history. George, I'm going to move to you, and sorry, I know normally it's ladies first, but there's a sort of narrative to the story. This is why we're going this way. But George, you represent, if not the biggest, one of the biggest incubators in Portugal, and you are special.
Sure.
The best for sure, the best, you have several specializations, but one of the main ones is healthcare.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of programs that you work with, namely with other institutions or entities like EIT Health in Europe, but also with the local hospital, which is Coimbra. It's one of the top 3 hospitals in Portugal, and you also have other programs. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the programs and the opportunities and how you see the startups working with you?
Yeah, so thanks for the invitation, and Andre, great to hear you. Your story is amazing in many sense. So I think you saw our logo in Gluma's pitch, and this is part of what we do. So we are a mix between an incubator, but also an R&D center where we work with startups, for startups and large companies. We don't do applied research. We don't do fundamental research. We only do applied research. So we really focus on bringing products to market. And that's key to startups in the healthcare system. And you have to think of validation 2 ways, like technical validation, as Andrea just said, but also the business validation. That's like the 2 main areas where we work. There are many initiatives, and I think the biggest one, and that has to do with EIT. So EIT, European Institute of Technologies, Health is it's the largest health network in Europe, and they provide opportunities for seed stage, scale up stage, and it's one of the go-to programs for startups. Of course, there's challenges, and the business is for sure one, but I think that you as an entrepreneur, healthcare, you need, as Andrea just mentioned, to understand that it's a major market. It's a market where you have to understand it, either the US or Europe, but you have to play it globally from the start, and that is a sensitive topic, because one of the areas where we work is actually regulation and certification. You cannot start on the wrong foot, because that will probably hold you down for a couple of years. So that's one of the key aspects that I think incubators and these centers can help, and you should ask for help, okay? That's why we are here. That's why Startup Portugal is here. And we just heard about many amazing programs. Do go for institutions like us, and we're going to have here other institutions that are willing to help you. Maybe not with the full, let's say, with the full stack, but with a lot. And that's who we are. We're based in Coimbra, but we work, of course, across the globe. So that's us.
Okay. And do you have a specific partnership? Do you work very closely
Yeah.
with Coimbra then with the local hospital?
Yeah, so we testing is critical. We just discussed that. We have a program which is a TEF, which we're going to run for the next couple of years with European Union funding, and it's a testing and experimentation facility. So to streamline this process, so that if you have an idea, it's validated. Let's say on the technical side, everything connects, but you need to have data. You need to experiment with with the real environment to make it easier, faster, so that you don't waste so much time on that. So that's also an amazing opportunity for the ones that have products that need to be tested either on the digital or more hardware, because we're focusing on AI, robotics, and e-health.
Okay. One of the things I know as well, if you don't mind me saying, IPN is running also with the IT Health an acceleration program just focused on regulatory pathways and certification.
Yeah, apply
and
fast.
And it's for, especially if you are in healthcare and you need that support, whether you're in digital, whether you are in medical device. I think it really is important to get that support, and with also the support of a notifying body, because this is where you get.
And this is just David, because it's so critical. We see that, of course, product development is very complex, but you have to understand that you have very specific boundaries regarding healthcare that you have to understand from day one. Otherwise, your whole work might be going down the drain very fast, and of course, everyone hates that. But there are ways, and please connect. Please connect.
Thank you very much, George. Now I'm moving to Michaela. Michaela, again, thank you for being here as well. So this wasn't mentioned before, but Michaela also has the experience from being, let's say, on the public side at SPMS, which is the shared services of the Ministry of Health, and it's mainly or originally, now it's more than that, just the IT arm of the national healthcare system. And so Michaela has the experience of being at SPMS and now is part in COOF. And Michaela, I would like to have your thoughts globally before you speak about it. And it's interesting for all the startups and everyone who's watching us, what is COOF digital and what type of solutions you're looking for. But moving into the challenges and innovation in healthcare in Portugal, your broader view, what is also your general perspective on how we can improve more some of the pathways of innovation in healthcare?
A lot of things.
I know, of course.
No,
we have time. We have time.
Asking me difficult questions.
Only 3 minutes.
So thank you very much, Startup Lisboa. Just to
Don't worry. It's funny. No, he's at the back now. It's right at the back.
Just to disclose, I'm a physician. This might also shape a little bit what I'm going to say. So first of all, just very few words about COOF. Maybe I don't know whether everybody's Portuguese here, maybe not. So COOF is a very large private healthcare provider. We like to say we are the largest. And it is part of José de Melo. José de Melo is a group of companies. And we have within José de Melo a special unit, which is GROW. And this is the connection point for startups. Within GROW, there are several verticals, and one of the vertical is health, but there are also other verticals. And by contacting GROW, then GROW is going to connect the startup and the value proposition to the key persons within, for instance, the health vertical, and from thereon things enroll, and there is a validation of the value proposition and of the readiness and matureness of what the startup is proposing, and maybe from then COOF may be a test environment, a real world test environment for the solution that is proposed. Just, I thought this could be interesting for who's sitting here. Right, now let's go to COOF Digital, which is also healthcare provision unit within COOF. First of all, just let me tell you that we strongly believe that the care journey of patients, that the patient journey is a hybrid one. That means that it is a journey where digital touch point and the classical human touch points build a meaningful journey. And I also believe that digital touch points will become more and more important in the future. But it is a hybrid journey. And I think this is important to understand that solutions must fit into this journey. They are not isolated solutions. This will be more difficult to work. So what we do at KUF Digital, we build, conceive patient-facing healthcare services that are digital first, remote first, but then can connect also to physical touch points and into the classical healthcare provision. Let me just give you some examples. So first of all, we created and there we work with startups, a digital front door, a first connection point, which is a symptom checker for our patients. And from then on, we can connect to the adequate level of care and to the adequate care. And there is another important message here. It is also very important to get the information structure right from the start. So we have we include in a structured way, according to catalogs, the information that is inserted by the patient already in his or her patient medical record. So there is a pathway. This is what we do. We create digital first and remote first offerings that then can dock to presential and to I call it classical care provision. Let's talk. I don't know how much time I have, but let's talk about challenges, and there are a lot of challenges, and one of the and Andre already mentioned very important challenges. One challenge is the reimbursement challenge. Obviously, the reimbursement system in the public, but also in the private system, is very much a reimbursement system that fits to traditional healthcare provision. So you pay fee for service, fee for care episode, and there is not yet specific financing for instance, digital therapeutics, or for care provision that is different, that is not so episodic, but that is more continuously and maybe even outcome oriented. Yeah. So this is a problem, because the changes in what we will need from healthcare will be a change in how we provide care in a much more continuous way, a much more preventive way, anticipating way, and therefore we need all the data and all the technology. But the way this is paid, so it is not it does not fit yet. So and this is a challenge, because somebody has to pay for it in the end of the day.
And not just in Portugal. So then it's a little bit over.
No, this is not his problem. This is a global problem, and actually this is, as Andre said, and I think there are a lot of learnings from what from the journey that Sword Health did. they actually went directly to the payers then, and not to the traditional healthcare providers, because there was no fit on this level. So I think this is an important message to take. Another important message that I find I should share with you is, so solutions can be solutions that fit into existing workflows. And these solutions probably are more likely to be adopted in reasonable space of time. So also a space of time that the startup can bear. Startups usually are not huge pharmaceutical companies that launch a drug, and then if it is adopted within 7, 10, 14 years, they are happy. So they have this power. So startups usually need much faster development. So if the solution needs a re-engineering of the processes and a change of culture and mindset, this will be much more difficult to implement. If you have such a solution, then it was always said regulation, but you should also know that to be successful, you have to validate it from a clinical point. So this is very important, because you need trust from the clinicians, and you need to demonstrate that your solution is better than the as is.
Clinical outcomes are key.
And this is hard to do. This is hard to do. This is not something that you do, that it's easy to do. It's hard to do. It's hard to know how to do it. It's hard to get the number of patients you need for it, the right methodology, and so on. It's hard to do. It is resource consuming, yeah, it takes time. So make sure that you validate it, that it's safe, and yes, that you demonstrate that's better than the solution that is in place, because there are solutions, the traditional solutions that are in place. So, but if you have a solution that really disrupts existing workflows or demands the disruption of existing workflows to unleash its power, and I think what Sword Health is, for instance, doing is so, then it will be very hard to, if you look at traditional healthcare providers, then you should look at other players in the healthcare system first, because the traditional healthcare players later probably will join, but not at the very beginning. And this is why KUF also created KUF Digital, because KUF Digital is a unit that is new, so it is not attached to traditional workflows. So it has some, yes, it is elastic, and we look for doing things new from the scratch, but important, it must be meaningful care pathways. It's not an isolated solution, a very fancy thing for a very specific problem. It is trying to get this hybrid pathway and whole journey done. So I could
go on. No, we'll get back to it. But
people who also have things to say.
No, but it's interesting as you're saying, and if we have put out the example as well of how you should find other, because obviously innovation in healthcare is not drug discovery anymore, or it's medical devices, wearables, it's digital apps, and so you can find more and more key players who are not traditional in healthcare, like telecoms. I think if those of you who are here in Portugal, you have NOS, you have Vodafone, more and more involved in healthcare and trying to look for digital solutions as well, and other players. So maybe partnering up with some of those could also be a way to overcome some barriers and access the market in a quicker way.
Because integration is key. Integration is
Exactly.
key. Be aware of that. Yeah.
And it was great to know about your experience and what KUF Digital is offering and how you can access KUF through the Grow interface, let's say, to enter this private group of hospitals. And Carlos, hello. In your case, and you're the chairman of the board of directors of the Tamguei Sousa Hospital, or Centro Hospitalar, so hospital group, and it's a public hospital. How do you work with innovation? How do you integrate innovation being a public hospital?
First of all, thanks a lot for inviting me. I don't know why you invited me. in fact, I'm a stranger here, if I can say so. I'm actually the president of Centro Hospitalar Tamguei Sousa, which is the biggest hospital near to the big metropole of Porto. For the people of Lisbon, I normally say, because in Lisbon they don't know Centro Hospitalar Tamguei Sousa, and I say that we are Hospital Amadora Sintra do Norte, because like this everybody knows, because everybody knows Amadora Sintra, everybody hears about that, and saying that everybody knows what is Tamguei Sousa, because we and Amadora Sintra, we both have 500,000 people to treat. We have 5% of the Portuguese population, each one in charge for treatment. Just because we are near the big cities, and that's why we have this responsibility. So we have many problems, and being here with such young people and with expecting new solutions, I would say that maybe I can't be so optimistic as some of the previous speeches I heard. About the case we heard here that started in Portugal and after went to the United States. It's a real example about how we have maybe the fantastic technology, but at the end, we have to look at the market. And the question is that the market sometimes is not open to accept the technology, the fantastic technology we developed, we have in hands. And that's why we have to look at the market, to look at the different markets, because, for instance, looking at KUF is absolutely different than the biggest or the public hospitals. The Portuguese system in healthcare is mainly based in public institutions. We have in the recent years, we have growth of the private ones, but anyway, for the moment, we still have the huge amount of patients, treatments, and so on is in public system. And public system has different rules. We have much more difficulties to buy. We can't buy even if we like the solution. Yeah. After we have to take care about situations like the sharing the information with the other institutions. For instance, we can share information with KUF. KUF doesn't share information with us, but we have to share information with all the other public hospitals. And so it's completely different. We have to create solutions that allow us to do our job daily basis in that way. And hospitals are, and the healthcare system is plenty of opportunities, but sometimes we have to live with robotization, with high-tech sophistication, high-level treatments, but at the same time, we can't connect with the primary care that are 10, 20 kilometers far from us, because internet is not in the right speed, is not allowing us to give the physicians that are in primary cares to open the exams that the patient did in hospital. And these are opportunities that the companies can develop, developing solutions to connect everyone, because we are around the country without connection. After, we have plenty of small solutions, small things that can be done that help people, and not only with big robotization and big sophistication. You know, let me give you an example that can be a picture, but anyway, in the past I was working as director of Portuguese Correios de Portugal, with the company of sending letters to everybody, and we could put a letter in the north of Portugal, in the frontier with Spain, Thursday in the afternoon, in what we call in Portugal Correio Azul, the blue post, and Friday morning that letter could be in the south of Portugal, at home of the customer. Leaving my position in Correios, I entered in one of the biggest hospitals here in Oporto, Hospital Sant Antonio, which one I heard here today with 2 projects in the pitch. It's a huge hospital, an universitarian one, what we have all the developments and all these kind of things. The ones that know the Hospital Sant Antonio is an old hospital with 200 years and with a square garden in the middle. And I realized that I couldn't send a letter from one side of the garden to the other side of the garden in 1 week. And so the question is not technology, because men went to the moon in 1969. Too many years. Technology is not the problem. The problem is what technology can do fitting the market needs. And this is the solution. And because I heard about transplantations, about many ideas, because we have plenty of situations to do. What we have to make is looking at the public hospitals, separate. If you want to work with public hospitals, separate it, because private hospitals is another area. It's very difficult to implement solutions that start in one and after trying to go to the other one. For instance, monitorization of patients at home. We need to have the incorporation of the results of the monitorization in the record system of the patient. It's completely different doing that in the public hospital. As I said, the public hospital has to share it with all the other public hospitals. It's a system that is the same for me, for Sant Antonio, for São João, for Santa Maria, for everyone. It's completely different if you want to go to PUF, to Hospital da Luz, to Lusíadas, to Trof, because they have their own system. And at the end, we have a big difficulty that I heard some minutes ago speaking about that is interconnecting, putting all the applications working together. It's a drama. We have 200 different applications in each hospital, more or less, for different areas, for cardiology, for whatever. And at the end, if you don't have the way to connect, and when speaking with companies of technology, all them say, it's easy, we can put all them connected. Wrong, it's not working. We don't have, and each time we need a different thing, a new connection. It's a big drama, it's a big problem. Some companies are more open and facilitate the process, others don't. And so what I could say is there's plenty different opportunities that you can explore in healthcare, not necessarily for big robots, as I said. A study that I heard some days ago told that for robotization, for instance, when asking the people at home, what would you like as robot to be developed for helping you get the nails off the feet? Because people, elderly people, having difficulties to move down, who would like to have something like that to help them. And sometimes people are looking for solutions very, very sophisticated, but don't fit the market news.
Neglect, because we're talking about a lot of digital apps, healthcare apps, and we forget that from chronic patients, elderly patients, a lot of them don't even have nowadays in Portugal a smartphone, or they don't know how to use one. So that's definitely one thing to consider. Carlos, thank you for your feedback. And one of the things.
I don't know if I answered your.
Yes, don't worry. We'll go back there. We'll go back there. We'll go back there. But I mean, I didn't ask this in the room, and I'll ask now. How many people have a startup in healthcare here in the room, or are thinking of developing? Raise your hands, please. Okay, quite a few. And I don't know, in Porto, I'm assuming, I am hoping there's quite a few startups there as well, or people at least planning on developing a startup. So don't forget, the title of today's Hangout is biggest challenges, overcoming biggest challenges in healthcare. So first we have to speak about the challenges, okay? So we're talking a lot about the challenges, and Carlos managed to, from a public perspective as well, to mention quite a few of them. But we also need to think on how to overcome them. And Vanessa, now over to you, and to calm Carlos down a little bit. So maybe you can explain what ACSS is, and maybe what role it can play here regarding innovation in healthcare.
So hello, everyone, again. I work for this organization with a huge name that is Administration of the Health System. And this is a public organization under the umbrella of the Ministry of Health that is in charge of the management of the resources. And by resources, I mean financial resources, human resources, and infrastructure. And I work for this new field within the ACSS that is in charge of the planning and innovation. And I need to do a disclaimer here, because when we talk about innovation, we are always thinking about IT-related or devices-related innovation. And this is not the kind of innovation we want to focus our work. The kind of innovation we want to focus is what Michaela said and what Alberto said, is organizational innovation. And this doesn't mean that it has to have technology associated. First of all, what we want to do is to change the processes of care, the way we provide care, to change even the focus of care from the curative part to the preventive and to the promotion. And regarding this promotion and prevention, as has been said here, there are a lot of new actors and new players in the field. Like, for example, last week I was in Antwerp in a conference about integrated care. And in Belgium, they are, in the communities, they are working with health coaches. that are people from the community that work with deprived areas and teach these deprived people how to improve their health. About the role ACSCS can play to help this. Well, first of all, I think to be here and to be in events like this and to let you know what is ACSS and what are all the organizations in the system, because I know that looking from outside, it's very complex to understand which organizations are involved and which is the role of each one.
Just a small disclaimer. This is the first time SCS is in a panel with other startups and listening to the pain points. It doesn't mean you have to go and knock on the door of SCS and ask for, okay, but it's good for them to listen, not only the startup issues, but also with, well, eventually CUF, but above all also with the public hospitals, what Carlos is saying. So just the fact of being here and us knowing what it is, as Vanessa is saying, is great. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you, David. Thank you for letting them know that our dog.
Don't share the email with everyone. Don't worry.
No, of course, we are open to listen and we want to see the innovations that are going on because this also help us to understand how the future is going to be. And another role we want to play, and is linked what George said, the EIT and the TEF. Sometimes we as a central organization can go for applications in these programs, and I think this helps sometimes to win the proposals.
Yep.
So we don't have much resources, but
support letters sometimes are such as
we can do that.
as important.
That's a role we can
Yeah.
perform, and we can do that to help, of course. And finally, I think I need to talk about funding and financing. And as Michaela said, our current financing system is very focused on episodic care, on fee-for-service, on its production-based. But this is going to change. As some of you might know, the health system is under big transformation, at least I hope so. And the funding system is also going to follow this transformation. I cannot go further right now because we are at this moment thinking on how to reshape this model of financing. But the idea is to give an amount of money to the providers, but at the same time, give them the flexibility to look for different solutions, different ways of providing care. And of course, more cost effective. That is very important for the health system.
Okay, thank you, Vanessa. We're not running out of time a little bit, but we're short on time. So instead of asking again more questions that I had almost individually, I think I'm gonna wrap up with one question for all of you, and then move on to questions to the audience, which is. And maybe Vanessa, in your case, on how you're planning this new model eventually of financing. Michaela, you with CUF Digital, George, with you with your acceleration programs and a lot of international startups that you deal with as well, and knowing and there your experience abroad, and Carlos as well, your perspective. For you, what is the future of care, and what do you believe? Again, and Michael also already mentioned it, but what can startups and innovation bring to, so then we can come closer to this future of care? What is the future of care, and what examples have you seen lately that could be interesting to share? I don't know if anyone wants to take the lead first.
I can start.
Go on, Andre.
Just because I was the one on the bench for more time, so I can go now. I think basically the future of care, and I'm going to state you one example that I've seen in Portugal actually, is about everything that's acute care needs to go through like traditional hospitals and so on. A lot of the future of care needs to be happening at home. What this means is hospitals, basically new hospitals and so on, are going to have less beds because people will have actually home care. And this is the future of healthcare in our vision and my vision and what I've seen. We are going to launch, and this is a little bit a secret, but we are going to launch with Cesaram, which is kind of like it's the health system from Madeira, and they are building up a new hospital, and the new hospital has less beds than the old hospital, which is kind of interesting because the population grew. And this talks about how this, for example, for them, they are seeing this in a different way about like how they can treat people at home, how they can push in a good way, of course, people that don't need to be in the hospital and taking care of the hospital space and so on to be being treated at home. So I feel that this is going to happen. The future is now, and basically this is happening as we speak. And of course, for us, we are one of the companies pushing for that future because we saw vividly with Virgilio's family the lack of access to care. His brother, if it was not for the parents to change their lives, it wasn't bad till today. And he has a semi-independent life because of his parents, right? And this is why we created the company and so on, because people need the access to care. And there's a massive gap between the access to care, and there's a massive mess between what people need to have the care in the hospital, where people need to have the care in the Centro de Saúde, and when people can have actually the care at home, basically. And a lot of what we do is like 70% of what we do is chronic patients. Chronic patients, you can deal with physical therapy as we do, and it's fine, right? You don't need. I remember the Center of Lady Hospital that we have done. There was one person that I found it really interesting, which was she couldn't feed the chicken. And for her, the goal to be going through our program of rehabilitation was just to be able to go there and feed the chicken. And sometimes I feel that when we think about like massively complex scenarios, think about these people that don't have access to care. And the only way of covering this is with telehealth and digital solutions and pushing people to home and doing what we have been doing and evolving with SCNS 24 and so on, and digitalizing more and more in that sense. That's kind of my thought process and feelings.
Thanks, Adrian. Anyone wants to follow on that?
Yeah, I can go. Yeah, really quickly, and just to provoke Carlos, it's of course technology. It plays a big role. We are doing this because a lot of people have studied and they allowed for all this technology to happen, so we can be here. But it has to be patient centric. So again, we talked about journeys, and that's I think where we had. Everyone wants to have a healthier, longer life. Right? That's it. That's what we all want and systems want. I think it will be provided to us in many ways. Acute care is one thing, continuous care is another thing, and that is where a lot of innovation is happening. Having your own personalized, let's say, journey is where we'll head. And yeah, it's an amazing journey, and we'll see a lot of things changing in the next couple of years. I'm pretty sure it's good to be part of the change, and that the wave is growing actually.
Maybe,
Yep.
yeah, I can take from there, not to repeat. I do agree with both. Just let me add some things to it. So first of all, we must look who are we going to care for? So our populations are tremendously aging. So disease patterns are changing, and the way we have to care will have to change, as Vanessa already said. So we have to think about new care models. So much more continuous care, much more preventive, anticipatory, care. So this is clearly what we are heading to and what we have to head to. Just let me tell you some other things. We will have, so this aging of the population also will create an increasing balance between people who are able to care and people who need care. Just let me just look up here some to be precise. For instance, in 1960 in Portugal, there were 7.9 people in their active age, in labor age, for every one that was in the retiring age, and now it's 2.7 to 1. So just looking at, so
Yeah.
there is a point, there is 1-to-1. So one of you has to care for an older person. So this is going to put a tremendous strain on health systems and on our society as a whole. Another figure, there are estimates that in 2030 in the European Union we will have a lack of 2.3 million nurses and 600,000 doctors. So think what your solutions must bring. So they must empower patients to do a lot of things in a secure and safe way themselves. They have to help doctors and nurses to concentrate on what they do best. And then there is another figure, which is also important. There was mentioned it's a huge market. It's right, it's a huge market. But at this time, we already are spending here in Portugal, for instance, 10.5% of our GDP on health. And in 2020, so this is a figure from 2020, in 2000 was 8.6. Germany, for instance, in 2000 was 9.8 and it's now 12.7. And we know that in the States, it's almost 20% and it's going like that. So we have to be efficient and we have to look how we spend our money because, so this is,
and it shouldn't be a cost, it should be an investment as well, right? To make it more efficient as well.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Carlos? The future of care. I mean, and especially at Tamgen Souza, you've done some pilots with home care, cuidados domiciliários, right? So you're also trying to, be at the forefront or try to test also new ways and new future of care to reach more patients. What is your view?
I would say that the trend should be to ambulatory care more and more, to put people out of the hospitals, giving them care at home or wherever. But unfortunately, we have elderly people and we still have too much people inpatient. So at the beginning of the century, we were doing 20-25% of ambulatory surgeries. Today, we do 70%. We increased a lot in this kind of treatment, of the way to treat people. But even with this big growth in the ambulatory care, we still have too much people. I was hearing about reducing beds, and 2-3 decades before, I was hearing that we should reduce beds, that we wouldn't need them. For instance, in my case, I still have too many people, I'm not going to say how many, but too many people without having a bed to be treated. So it's people much more old with different complications, and it's more and more difficult to treat these people. And at home, we don't have always the conditions to have them there with somebody that should take care of them. So in the coming years, I would say that this should be the trend, but I'm not so optimistic about a big change about that. But yes, this is the way we have to look at the future, to give more ambulatory care, more different ways of treating people, more technology in the different gadgets, different approaches, but having always in consideration that we still are a poor country with no money to put on fantastic projects all day we would like to. So let's see, but I think that there's a lot of opportunities, but as somebody said some minutes ago, we have to look at the way efficiently we will use this money.
Okay. Thank you, Carl. Vanessa?
So I agree with all of you, but I will go behind that. That is, we need to keep our population healthy. Otherwise, the system, and not just the public, also the private, will not be sustainable. So that's why I was talking about these new players in the system that will help people staying healthy as long as possible. And I don't know how far is this future, but I am sure this is the way we need to go. Otherwise, we don't have neither money, neither human resources to support a system like this.
But at the end of the day, with digital health and healthcare apps, we have more and more data, so we can sort of self-manage not only the disease, but the prevention in our own health state. And one of the things that's happening as well in Portugal for the startups that are trying to, or to the founders or future startups here in Portugal, there's been a decentralized political system in healthcare. So more and more municipalities are now will start taking care of their own population and their own population's health, and also focus a lot on prevention, focusing on or reaching out to elderly populations eventually, and so the monitoring of health as well, and moving into what you have in the Nordics, which is a primary care system focused in the municipalities in the region. So there is also an opportunity there. Before I do the wrap up, I want to just open up the questions to the audience. One or two questions. Ooh. Okay, you were the first one, Fernand, no? To read out the hand. Go on, Fernand.
Can I?
Yeah. Yes. Carl.
Can I say something?
Sorry. Yeah. Yes, of course. Go ahead.
At this moment, we are making a huge transformation in the healthcare system, in public healthcare system in Portugal. We are transforming the centros hospitalares in unidades locais de saúde. It is not exactly even the global involvement of the municipalities, but it's a step to that system, because for the moment we are joining the hospital cares and the primary cares, giving a global approach and a way to look at the patients different, and more we are approaching to municipalities and to take them inside the system.
And we have to. Thank you, Carl. Fernand? So we have I'm sorry, just to say, to manage expectations, Fernando was the first one. I saw the second one there, and then we had the third one there. And then we need to make sure that there's some questions in Porto as well. We need to keep this balance, otherwise it's not good. So Fernando.
Hi everyone, I'm Fernando from Portuguese.
Can you hear Fernando in Porto? Speak up.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. So hi everyone, I'm Fernando from Portuguese Startup Community 351. So I have a question specific for Vanessa. It's just because I had really bad experience with ACSS.
So sorry
Fernando, I said don't do that.
But my point is the opposite. Yeah, my point is the opposite. So as the health system has a lot of pressure, everything seems to be urgent. Meaning like sometimes not the key technology that gonna change, but if you do like a small improvement in a service or in a process, sometimes you have a really high impact. So in that sense, I just would like to understand a little bit better, how do you guys decide on what to innovate first? So like, do you do like user research, or do you do some data science to understand like, look, if I improve this process, maybe 5 million people get to 10 faster. So just trying to understand a little bit like in a chaotic scenario, how do you pick where to go first, and how do you do that?
Well, it's a hard question. We have what is called a national health plan. So there are the priorities we should look for. The problem is that in the national health plan, there are a lot of priorities. So it's always hard to decide which one we are going to pick up. Also, as a central organization, we don't decide in each hospital what they are going to do. So they are somehow, not much, but somehow free to try to improve their own processes. And we have very good examples of hospitals that are working with consultancy and other kind of companies, even improving the efficiencies of the teams, the flow in the teams. So, but this is done at the local level. So each hospital, according to their specific needs and their proactivity, they are deciding which are the areas they should work on. So, and we as a central organization, at this moment, what we are doing is look at that experiences at the local level and try to scale it up as a national level. But this is going to be a long process.
Thanks, Vanessa. Yes, your name, Danny. Danny, is that okay? I can read it from here.
Thank you. So my question will be a bit biased because these are the two problems that I'm working on. But my solutions are not really addressed to any European country, but rather for US and Argentina. So a little bit of background. In 2021 in Argentina, there was a huge hack. Some of you might know, 45 million medical health records went into the dark web, together with all the health history, biometrics, insurance details, everything. The data is still there on the dark web. This is a problem. Another one is something that wasn't even or is not even reaching the public. For example, 3 weeks ago, one of the largest health hospitals in US, they suffered the hack on a Friday, and their entire EHR system, so electronic health record system, was down until Monday night. During this time, they had no access to any health records. Their emergency room was frozen, and they lost a big part of that data. I'm trying to, or my question is, what are the Portuguese healthcare providers doing to address the cybersecurity risk, as all the innovation that we heard today and many others are putting a lot of sensible data, digital, exposed to very strong hacks out there. Thank you.
I don't know if, I mean, I can start by saying that I know that some hospitals, public or private hospitals, are starting to have their CDPO.
Yeah.
Is that it? Chief
Yep,
Data
yep.
Protection Officers. So working on cybersecurity issues, data protection, RGPDs, and streamlining all the patient's information. I don't know if Michael, you want to add something, or Carlos, but
Can very, very rapidly, well, I'm a physician, I'm not a cybersecurity expert, but I can tell you that CUFIN, this is known, I don't know whether it was about 8 years ago or something like that, suffered also a problem on this on this level, and there was a huge effort to, many things were changed. I cannot tell you the details. First of all, because I don't know all the details, in order to change architecture, to put processes in place, to reduce the risk, to create the needed backups, and also the plans and the resources to fight and to prevent such events that, as you well said, are really high risk and are very disruptive and can put people's life at risk. So it is very serious question to tackle. But this is what I can say from our side. So.
I think, I mean, I've been getting, as a moderator, I've been getting here messages that we need to wrap this up because people want drinks. I know, but what about, no, I need to give one question to Porto and then we have to wrap it up. We're all going to go upstairs afterwards for networking. You can then ask questions and I'm sorry about that. Is there a question?
Sorry, David, let me jump in.
Yeah.
Anyone? Okay.
One question then, and then we can wrap this up.
Hello. Okay. Hello, my name is Tamla, and my question for Andre. And I live in a foraging country nowadays in Portugal, for a foraging country. And my department is biotechnology, and I'm 22. So, what would you do if you were me?
$1 million question. So always one thing that I say is when I share my opinion or actually our experience, what we have been through, this worked well for us. That doesn't mean that's going to work because if there was a recipe, everyone was a unicorn, everyone was a billionaire, etc., etc. Right? So it's something that I think it depends on. I think my biggest advice is no matter what you do, be so good that you cannot be ignored. And this is a quote from Steve Martin, the actor and comedian. When we went to the US, people said that we were crazy. And because we were Portuguese, we were like behind the MIT guys or the Silicon Valley, whatever, just because we were born in Portugal. So we needed to start behind because of a bias or because the world is not balanced or because it is the world that we live in. So I would say that, and everyone was saying that we were crazy, like you are ahead of the curve, no one wants to have physiotherapy at home and so on. And basically we build up our technology. We were so good without, when we got to the clinical trials, we're the first company compared a digital intervention with an in-person intervention, and we achieved better outcomes in post-hip and knee replacement on seniors 65 plus years old. So just to let you know that like what we developed was not like just for the tech savvy, like the high tech. This was like 65 plus people like my father and so on with hip replacements and so on. And we were getting better outcomes. We've got better outcomes than the in-person care. So this was basically showing everyone like, hey, this is here and this is good and just bet on us and so on. So be so good that you can't be ignored. That's always that. Everything that you do in healthcare, I feel that a lot of times people think about like a lot of around things, but think about the patient. If the patients love what you're doing, it's like half of the way for you to succeed. What you need to have on top of that is the business model. So you need to follow the money. Who is paying for this? And because who's paying for this, you need to be giving them some cost savings. So when startups say that like, hey, I'm quality-wise, I'm better than others, but I'm not reducing cost savings, I'm not getting anything like that's better quality or better service, you're dead. Because you need to have some cost savings. You need to show something to the payers, like, hey, when we went to the insurance companies, we said, we will actually save you 20%, and we are actually saving more. And the same way when we went to to Hospital Valeria, we saved more than 20% in those patients than the traditional healthcare. So you need to cost save. You need to follow the money, see who the payer is, and you need to bring them something that's really valuable to them. So if you get like a great member experience, you give something to, you follow the money, you give something to the payer, and you are so good that you cannot be ignored, you will succeed.
So, Andre, thank you very much. Excuse me. If I can just add on that, just always bring a business case, right? It's like how much, because again, innovation in healthcare still is a cost and not an investment. That every time if you're a startup, take a business case and show the payer for each year they're going to put, how much are they going to get back? And I think that's very important. And apart from that, be resilient as well, right? Apart from being good at it, what do you do? But be very resilient. But thank you very much for your time here today. We discussed the challenges and we heard a lot about the challenges, and in healthcare, you know that as we mentioned, you need to look at the patients, at the pathways or the workflows as well, not just focus on the technology. Think about the regulation, think about the data as well, and data protection. That's very important. There's huge challenges, but there's a big transformation going on. We need to be closer to the patient, maybe more at home care, and even we have public institutions and entities already thinking about new models as well. So there is opportunity, and don't forget that if you're solving a problem in healthcare, you're always going to have a huge impact. So, you know, move forward, go ahead. And even though there's a lot of hardships, I'm sure that Andrea would do it all over again, almost all over again, right? But you've become successful. But
When people ask me if I'm going to fund another one, no, I'm not. It's enough. 20 years of this seems like 30, so it's enough.
But anyways, and don't forget that you have support, you have structures and networks like EPEN, incubators, and others. So go ahead, and it's definitely an area where you can change the world. Thank you very much for this discussion, and to all the panel, thank you very much. And time for drinks now. Let's go upstairs and there. Thank you. Okay.